Britam is, I would say, in 1-2 means, is the biggest insurer arguably in the region. In what sense? By market capitalization, because we're a listed company. And when you talk about listed, that means a lot of controls, procedures in line with the world standards. We are currently in 7 countries in the region and expanding. And I would believe not many insurers are in such a number of countries in this region. And what more about Britam? We pride ourselves in establishing long-term relationships with the clients. How do you do that? Number one, like I said, is paying claims. Number two, reaching out to them even when they are not in time of need. Number three is how often you engage with them and make them comfortable so that they can mind something else, not insurance or the risk they carry. Because every business has a risk.
So, in layman's terms, what exactly is risk?
The first thing that comes to mind is how they secure the funds and the pricing of the funds. That's the cost of money, interest. And the second one, of course, is their property. There's like fire, accident, burglary. Okay, that sets one back to zero when it happens. And the other risks, like most of ISMEs are like family run. The challenge now normally comes in is that it's only a family business, and probably the output may not be as good as in case you have the mixed team. More often than not, our entrepreneurs would prefer having probably the family as the employees, which in a way limits the capacity to grow and the capacity to bring in external ideas that will probably take the business ahead. The other issue probably is, of course, I would not call it legislation as such. Let me call it taxes straight away. Because of sometimes a lack of knowledge, they do not want to be registered for taxes. And in the process, they end up spending more without actually following the right process. And yet knowing if they're done the right thing, probably they would pay much less.
And now that we have an idea of what risk is, how best can one deal with it?
The first thing is identify. And you know what happens normally? Sometimes they end up in businesses because somebody has been successful at it. I get it. Yeah. But in this case, once someone has thought through, I've seen some business proposals, fantastic. So all the risk exposures are shared in that document. So that enables you to come up with mitigants. And one of the mitigants obviously is insurance. And when talking insurance, of course, we're talking Britam here.
SMEs bear risks of all sorts. And it is with this in mind that Britam designed packages specifically tailored to the SME.
For SME specifically, apart from motor insurance, we have the special Britam Enterprise. Now this policy, other than historically, SMEs will have one policy for fire, another one for the workers, another one for business interruption, and many others. At Britam, we made it simpler. One proposal form, one policy, one expiry date. Because we sat with them and understood their needs. Because depending on how they're structured, these policies may be coming on different dates. You don't have to do that. You want them to concentrate on doing what they know best and leave the experts to do the insurance.
Despite all this, insurance levels are still quite low in Uganda. Might you tell us in your own words why you think this is so?
I'll look at it in 2 perspectives. First, it's historical, in the sense that the perception is not good about insurance. And that's what we hear as Britam to change. The perception is insurers don't pay claims. It's a perception, because the truth is we pay claims. That issue of why do you make it bureaucratic is again a perception issue. We should have a standard requirement list so that's all you ask for is provided, you pay. And you can see we're self-regulated as insurers. You know, that's one thing that has made us be Association of the Year for 6 consecutive years. Association of the Year, because we're doing a lot to turn around the image of the industry.
Aside from his time, Mr. Mafabi was kind enough to give us some parting words of wisdom too.
Some of them actually take out the policies because the banks have asked them to, for the what facilities. Now the challenge is when those expire, when they finish paying, they stop. And the challenge is thereafter, that's when losses occur. So that business of taking it for granted is indeed true, but that's what we're doing as an industry again by educating them. We've had shows across the country trying to educate them so that they don't take it simply because it's a requirement like third party, which is regulatory. So that they can benefit from the insurance covers. I can mention or in fires, for example. You know how many times it happened. Yeah. Without insurance, those people would have been out of business and their families gone. But thank God they had insurance. So we're encouraging them. You should not take insurance for granted. It's part of the business. If you plan well, successful business, it is something that will protect you. There's a cost you pay, obviously, in advance, but you budgeted it, you factored it in your business, in the pricing. So you sit back and know, in the event anything happens, I'm okay.